There you are. Okay. Y'all think I should get started here? Y'all ready? Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to the 2022 American Lawyers Award celebration via Zoom. My name is Noelle Roberts, as you can see, and I'm currently the president of the American Lawyers Alliance. I would have rather been in Chicago, probably, with the weather nicer, but that wasn't meant to be. We would have had a beautiful breakfast at the University Club, and I would have had my mimosa, but I have my class, so I'm doing a virtual mimosa to enjoy. But we are here now with everybody, and we probably have a lot more people than we would have had in Chicago. The last head count I had in Chicago were 7 members, and that just wasn't going to cut it between COVID and travel expenses and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't meant to be. But we've got a lot of people on board to celebrate, and we are going to celebrate in style. All right, a little bit of history for those of you who are not that familiar with the American Lawyers Alliance. It was founded over 60 years ago by a group of wives of attorneys at the 1958 American Bar Foundation meeting. Known then as the National Conference of Lawyers' Wives, their main purpose back then was to develop a better understanding of the legal profession and to assist their husbands with ABA events, complete with white gloves and hairnets. My, have we evolved since then. Our primary focus now is to support law-related education in its many forms. Particularly in today's society and political environment, there's absolutely nothing more important than educating people about the law and their responsibilities within the law. Today, we honor those who have played various roles in these endeavors, from those who teach the law, to those who make the law, to those who learn the law. This morning, we celebrate 4 outstanding high school civics teachers, an amazing jurist who has taken his wealth of experience and given back to the students, and our very first high school superstar, the Catherine G. Jergemeyer Scholarship winner. You will soon get to learn all about them and hear from each of them personally. At this point, I'm going to turn the program over to our president-elect, Jennifer Benish, to give our inspiration. Jennifer?
Okay, thanks, Noelle, and good morning to everyone. I have an inspirational poem, and I actually got it from a woman who read it at our Austin Women's Club, and we all liked it so much that she gave me permission to use it. It's called The Power of One. One smile can begin a friendship. One word can be the start of a poem. One plant can be the beginning of a garden. One tree can be the prelude to a forest. One laugh can brighten someone's day. One thoughtful remark may inspire hope. One simple prayer may heal a heart. One helping hand can ease a burden. One random act of kindness can make a difference. One note may be the start of a symphony. One wish granted may start a chain reaction. One gentle touch can calm a grieving soul. One card sent to a sick friend may improve their chance of healing and brighten their day. One hello to a stranger may brighten a person's day. The power of one. Messages sending, releasing powers unending. One person, one word, one time, all introducing change. Priceless. Let us pray. Dear Creator, we thank you for the power of one. May we each offer up at least a single one in our daily lives. Amen.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, first, let's talk about those who teach the law. The purpose of our Teacher of the Year Awards is to honor U.S. public and private high school teachers who have made significant contributions to the area of law-related education. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Kitty O'Reilly, who is chairman of our Long Range Planning Committee, to give us a bit of background on our Teacher of the Year program. Kitty?
Kitty, you'll need to unmute yourself.
So much for technical. Kitty? Unmute yourself.
I'm trying.
There,
Thank you.
there you go.
Sorry.
There
Thank
you
you for
go.
your patience. It takes one to do a lot of different things, and I'm the one who was unmuted. Okay. All right. Good morning. First, I would like to congratulate our 4 outstanding teachers of the year for their remarkable efforts during another unusual year. For over 60 years, the American Lawyers Alliance has been active in its support of public education, citizenship awareness, and various service programs. Recognizing the vital role that teachers play in law-related education, the American Lawyers Alliance established the Law-Related Education Teacher of the Year Award. The first award was presented in 1985 to Richard Gonsalves from Carmichael, California. Since then, we have recognized teachers from 33 states and the District of Columbia. We have awarded more than $150,000 to these teachers who have made significant contributions to law-related education. We have honored teachers from big cities, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and small towns like Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, Blackfoot, Idaho, Ulysses, Kansas, and Ozark, Arkansas. From the West Coast to the East Coast, from the North to the South, it is truly inspiring to know that civics, law-related education, mock trials, and the We the People competitions are being held across our nation. We have had the privilege of meeting some amazing individuals who are passionate about their students and the subject matter, American history. Some interesting facts about 2 of our former winning teachers. In 1989, Greg Clevenger from Rochester, Michigan, wrote 1,860 questions on American history for the Jeopardy game Home Edition. And in 1994, Sandra Baker from Munster, Indiana, established the Books for Bosnia program, an English language lending library in that country. About 10 years ago, we began inviting to our awards breakfast presidents of the bar associations from the states where our teachers of the year taught. Many of them offered congratulatory remarks on behalf of their state bar associations. It was a wonderful experience for the teachers to be so recognized, and ALA greatly appreciated their participation. In 2021, we were able to add the Lillian B. Jarvis Teacher of the Year Award for a teacher in a Title I school. Today, we are honored to have this year's Teachers of the Year with us, and I think after you hear from each of them, you will see why they have been chosen as the American Lawyers Alliance 2022 Teachers of the Year. And now I would like to introduce our wonderful Teacher of the Year Chair, Barbara Smallwood.
Thank you, Kitty. I'm going to introduce each of our teachers by just giving you a very brief background of what they're doing in the classroom, and then ask each of them to tell you why they're teaching, the experiences they've had. It's amazing. It's really very amazing to read through the resumes that were submitted. It exhausts me to think of what all they do in high school these days. It's pretty amazing, and what these teachers have encouraged their students to be able to do. The first one I'm going to introduce is Katie Boland. Katie developed and taught lessons plans for AP U.S. Government and Politics, United States History, Political Systems, Global Civilizations, and Economics courses. She coordinated the Model Congress Club of 50 students that participated and won awards at various conferences, including the Small Best Delegation Award at the University of Pennsylvania in 2018. Katie also coached the We the People team to 10 state championship wins in the last 11 years, and placed in the top 10 at nationals in 2013, 16, and 21. In addition, she started the Blanket Brigade, a club that makes blankets once a month for children in hospitals. She also started the Rho Kappa Social Studies Honor Society of Trumbull High School in the fall of 2019. Katie has a master's in American history, a master's in American studies, and her BA is in history. She's been teaching for 20 years. So Katie, the floor is yours. Why don't you share your experiences with us?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. I'm actually in Chicago. I took the travel stipend and came to Chicago for the weekend. So I'm sitting in the lobby of my hotel right now, and it's a little loud. And I can tell you the weather is beautiful this weekend. You are definitely missing out. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you this morning. So I thought I'd just give a little more background on myself and what I do. And so there's this story that I always tell my students about exiting, the delegates exiting the Constitutional Convention, and Benjamin Franklin was approached by a group of citizens asking what sort of government the delegates had created. And his answer was simple and direct: a republic if you can keep it. I feel that's my job and duty as a social studies teacher to meet Dr. Franklin's challenge with each and every future citizen that comes into my classroom. So I started out, I graduated in 2001 from the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts. I had a bachelor's of arts degree in history and a minor in secondary education. I absolutely fell in love with history in college. I thought I was going to be a math teacher in high school until calculus got the best of me. And fell in love with my first social studies or history professor in college. I also volunteered with Habitat for Humanity all throughout college and beyond. And then went on to receive my master's in American Studies at Fairfield University, where I was able to take courses in the interdisciplinary way of learning US history. So it was in political science, it was in English, I took a history of jazz course. And so it really like started my foundation and love for history. In 2020, I won the James Madison Memorial Fellowship Foundation for Connecticut, where I was able to pursue a second master's, this time just in straight American history at Gettysburg University with the Gilder Lehrman Institute. And this summer, I spent 4 weeks down in DC taking 2 classes at Georgetown for that fellowship. And so we called it like Constitution Nerd Camp, because it was 4 weeks where I could just devote the entire time to the early foundations of our government, through the convention, through the ratification debates with 72 other teachers from across the country. So it was pretty amazing. As for teaching, I started my career in an inner city school at Warren Harding High School in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I started a law and public service academy there. And so this law background really has stayed with me throughout my entire career. My students, we did the mock trial program, we did the debate team, we did the We the People competition, and I also took students to North Carolina, West Virginia on their spring breaks to volunteer with Habitat for Humanity. And we also spent Saturdays volunteering with Habitat right in their neighborhood. And it was a tremendous experience. I love teaching at Harding. But after 8 years, my sister is in the Trumbull district with me, in my current district, and she convinced me to apply for an opening at the high school, and I did. And so I joined Trumbull High in 2010. Since starting at Trumbull High, I've had tremendous success with my advisor programs. I'm very fortunate to have educated, motivated, inspired students that really meet Dr. Franklin's call each and every year. My Model Congress Club that I started, we've won the best delegation at UPenn in the past. We've stayed in contact through the pandemic. My students will do Zoom meetings like this, where they have their committees and they're still trying to pass legislation in their committees on Zoom all throughout it. We haven't been able to travel in 2 years, and yet I still have 50 energetic students that still love and have this passion for Model Congress. I would say my real devotion and 100% passion is with the We the People program. I started coaching it in 2011, and I brought my team down to nationals for 10 different times. My current team, well, that just graduated, they finished 10th at nationals this year. That was also held on Zoom, but I was able to bring the students down to DC for that experience, and we did the competition in a hotel conference room, kind of like I'm doing today. But I really wanted to be able to show them and tour with them DC, and we did a monument tour in the evening, which was beautiful. We did all the Smithsonian Institutes, all the malls, everything like that, and they really enjoyed their time. With We the People, the students really developed this historical and philosophical foundation of our country. We spend our time looking at modern world topics such as complex issues surrounding voting rights after Shelby County, to privacy issues regarding national security. And the Constitution and our founding documents are always at the forefront of what we study. George Washington once said that the Constitution is the guide I will never abandon. And that's a poster that I have up on my wall, and we refer to it all the time because we try to keep those documents at the heart of what I teach and what we're learning. So it's more about learning about these primary source documents in a way that they can integrate them into the modern world. And it's always awesome when I have like students on the We People competition that are just quoting things from Aristotle, Cicero, all the way to Federalist 10 or Federalist 51, ambition must be made to counteract ambition. And they're just quoting those documents out of memory, like it's no big deal and it's part of their language. And that's really what I try to do with my students, because for me, Citizen understanding, I think, is a required requisite for a successful representative democracy in our country. And the survival of our system depends on this foundation of legitimacy, that the people's recognition and acceptance of the rule of law in our country and of where we've come from, and that we have to make informed decisions on whether to provide that consent to our people in power. And my students have been able to get involved at the local level. Every local election, we've taken over our community television and we run the live election nights coverage. And so I have my students, my We the People team, as the anchors on TV. And I have them at the polls that are getting the results. They're calling it into our TV station, and they put on the show completely themselves. I have them volunteering on political campaigns. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle that they volunteer on, but they're getting active in the political campaigns. I've gotten active on political campaigns to kind of learn that in-depth process as well, and just to show them that it's something that's easy to do. And so, I always, and I'm actually going to look up this quote because I don't know it by the top of my head, but scholar Robert Maddox once said that democracy is not the default form of political organization. It requires a high degree of citizen understanding to work well, even under the best of conditions. And I truly believe that's needed in our classrooms, and that's alive, at least in C14, where I spend most of my time at school. So again, I can't thank you enough for this award, for this trip to Chicago. I really appreciate it. And thank you for supporting civics education. There's a study that was recently done that 5 cents are spent on civics education per student across the United States and $50 on STEM education. And so the need for this is truly great. And the work that you all are doing to kind of promote this doesn't go unnoticed. And so I thank you all for that. And I thank you for the award.
Thank you, Katie. That was really interesting. I love hearing you're taking your students to DC. What an amazing place to take them, and what an amazing year to be able to take them down there and see it in action. So congratulations to you. Our second winner is Amy Maddox. Now, Amy was not able to attend our Zoom meeting this morning, but I'm going to give you a little background on her, and then I'm going to switch it over to Noelle because Amy recorded her acceptance speech, or her sharing her thoughts with us, and sent it to us. Okay, Amy Maddox. Since 2001, Amy's students have participated in We the People, the Citizen and the Constitution mock congressional hearing program. Success in this program requires a deep understanding of constitutional origins, development, and application. Its primary emphasis is on the continuing relevance of constitutional principles to the governance of our nation. Students study the constitutional text, case law, primary sources from the founding, as well as historic and current constitutional questions and interpretations. Amy's teams have won the state competition every year since 2005 and placed in the top 10 nationally more than 10 times. Amy has her master's in education and a BA in history, and she's had 22 years of teaching experience. So Noelle, can you share your screen and play Amy's video for us?
Let me see what I can do real quick. Let's see here. Start at the beginning. Can y'all see her?
Yes.
Good.
I'm not hearing it, Noelle.
No.
Okay.
You want me to bring it up and sync it?
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm not hearing it. Okay, let's see.
I unmuted. I just unmuted.
Well, I'm
No,
not muted.
Yeah, that won't affect y'all. Hang on, let me bring it up and I can at least play the sound.
Let me start over.
Hold on 1 second here. Okay, if you want to, can you take her back to the beginning?
Okay.
And okay, I'm going to start it right now.
Okay.
I would like to begin by thanking the American Lawyers Alliance for the opportunity and honor it is to speak with you today. Thank you for your continued recognition of classroom teachers who, as much as ever before, need exactly this kind of encouragement to keep promoting the value of civic education in America's schools. Teaching history and civics was not my initial life plan. In high school, I was one of those math team kids, so it was assumed that I would probably be an engineer. The summer I spent as a mechanical engineer intern at Redstone Arsenal convinced me that engineering was not going to be my career path. It was the most boring summer of my life. The next fall of my senior year, as I prayed for guidance about my future, I felt truly led to become a teacher. Of course, I assumed I would be a math teacher. It was Dr. Lawrence Nelson, who was my college freshman U.S. History survey course professor, who ignited my academic passion for history and civics. My grandfather had spent 20 years in the classroom himself teaching welding. And when I shared with him that I planned to teach, he said without hesitation, "Don't do it." This is the same response that I received from the teachers I most respected. While I wish I could tell you today that I do not know what they meant, the truth is that I do understand the frustration they felt. But I can say with absolute certainty that I know I made the right decision for me. I love my job, and even though there are difficulties, ultimately, my faith in the future is renewed with every group of students that I get to teach. I've been teaching for 23 years. Each year, I am reminded of the hope and promise that our nation's youngest generation brings to the table. Without question, it is the enthusiasm and drive that I see in my students that compels me to strive to be my very best. In spite of the incredible difficulties that this COVID generation has already faced, these students still aspire to be optimistic problem solvers. Yet I increasingly find that our job as educators is to help these students find connection, belonging, and meaning in their own lives. I believe very strongly that if we fail to teach the next generation the circumstances of our founding and of our historical development, we miss one of our greatest opportunities. No matter how our students came to be in our classrooms, they are now a valuable, vital piece of the American story. Certainly, our diversity as a society is worth celebrating. However, I believe that if we do not also instill an appreciation for our similarities, our shared history, and our common values, we risk losing the freedoms that our predecessors established and that each passing generation fought desperately to maintain and expand. At the onset of my instruction each year, I have my students discuss the question, what does it even mean to be American? Many of my students inherently answer freedom, respect for the rule of law, republicanism, democracy, religious tolerance, a shared history. I believe that it is essential that we train each generation in the importance of these values and principles. If we fail to do so, then we are putting the entire American political experiment at risk. This is where my heart is. I teach to fulfill this civic duty. Not all of my students will become historians or lawyers or politicians, but they will all be participants in this American experiment in democracy. I want them to be active and informed participants. We often hear media commentary about the fact that our lowest voter turnout rates are in the 18 to 25-year-old category. Political pundits debate over what can be done to improve voter turnout in this age range. The answer is actually rather simple. We teach them why it matters. If students understand the importance and necessity of historical study and civic involvement, if they understand that they do have a vested interest in the final outcomes of elections, whether they be local, state, or national, then they are much more likely to actually participate. Furthermore, I am convinced that the best teaching and learning of history is experiential and happens as an outgrowth of the development of a positive classroom environment. While the old adage, kids are kids, remains true, the circumstances they confront do change. The advent of technological advance has created many benefits and many challenges. Breaking through the constant distraction of cell phones and social media in the classroom in order to get students to fully engage with material can be quite difficult, but it is possible. Emphasizing the applicable relevance of the curriculum is essential, and this is where law-related education proves to be the most valuable. When proposing legislation for the establishment of a public education system, Thomas Jefferson remarked, "Of all the views of this law for public education, none is more important, none more legitimate than that of rendering the people the ultimate guardians of their own liberty." I believe that as important as the maths and sciences are to our ability to compete globally, the fundamental and original purpose of our public education system cannot be forgotten. Our founding mothers and fathers understood that the primary purpose of public education was to preserve, protect, and expand our freedoms. This is my job, and I'm so grateful for the American Lawyers Alliance recognition of my efforts and those of every U.S. history and government teacher who shares this purpose with me. Thank you very much for your continued encouragement. Good morning. I would like to
Well,
begin by thanking the American
hold
Lawyers
on.
Alliance.
Hang on.
Okay,
Let me,
sorry. It
thought that was me.
I didn't think it would do it again. Yeah, it was me, sorry. I'm just so impressed by our teachers. I wish we had teachers like this in every school across the country, because this is exactly what our students need to be taught, and they need to hear this. So it just gives me goosebumps to hear these people talk. The next one you're going to hear from, the next teacher, is Jonathan Ray. Jonathan developed the curricula for and taught a number of law-related coursework during his time at Creekview High School. In the 21-22 school year, he is currently teaching law studies, legal research and writing, independent study with an emphasis on law, and 6 dual credit criminology courses. Prior to this school year, Jonathan also developed the curricula for and taught the following law-related courses: Principles of Law, Public Safety, Corrections and Security, Mock Trial, Constitutional Law, Principles of Government and Public Administration, Forensic Psychology, Dual Credit Crime in America, and Dual Credit Fundamentals of Criminal Law. His field trips have included trips to local criminal and civil courtrooms to observe trials, to the George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, and LBJ presidential libraries, the state capitol, the Texas Supreme Court, and the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. Jonathan has his Juris Doctorate and a BA in Film and Video Studies. He has taught at Creekville High School since 2010. So Jonathan, please share with us what you're doing in the classroom.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for this opportunity. I truly believe that teaching is not just a profession, it's a calling. And my calling started to come towards me in 2005. I was a 2L at Loyola University College of Law in New Orleans when Hurricane Katrina hit. And just like we're serving traumatized students, that was a traumatic event for everybody that was there. After the dust settled, I served as a law clerk at the Advocacy Center in New Orleans, serving special education legal issues that arose after Hurricane Katrina. And that's what first gave me my inkling that I needed to be a teacher. The second inkling was in my 3L year, when as case note comment editor for the Law Review, I served as a mentor to our 2Ls in writing their case notes and comments. And that showed me that I can serve the low populations in the Advocacy Center as well as the high populations. I started my teaching career in special education math. I did not know there was the breadth of legal education that there was, but I soon learned. My first class I taught was fundamentals of the American legal system. And I was given free rein to teach whatever I wanted to. So I designed a condensed 1L version of the law. And I was amazed at students' ability to rise to the rigor. And then I learned of something that has really defined my career as an educator, and that is high school moot court. It is amazing to me what students are able to accomplish. As a law student, case law, the case law method, all of that seemed so high and so beyond reach when you're first doing it. And I always tell my students when they first come into my classroom, you do not burst forth from the womb knowing how to read a case. Most high school students don't know how to read a case, but they have the ability if they're appropriately taught. And seeing what case law can do for kids and how kids can interact with case law has really been a transformative experience in my life and the lives of my students. I serve a majority economically disadvantaged population, and participation in high school moot court has given those kids so many opportunities that they would not have had otherwise. A few years ago, 2 of my students made it to the final round in the Harlan Institute virtual Supreme Court competition, which the final round was held in person in Washington, D.C. At the mock Supreme Court room at Georgetown University. In that courtroom, they argued before then DC Appellate Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh and won. Their prize for that, for winning that competition, was a trip to New York in the fall to meet Sonia Sotomayor. So these students had the ability to meet 2 Supreme Court justices in 1 year, and that is an opportunity that not anybody has. One of those kids, it was her first time to ever be on a plane. And it's just amazing to see the opportunities that can open up. The other one just graduated from her undergraduate in 3 years. And because of her work in undergraduate moot court, she was offered 3 full rides from different law schools. Seeing how interaction with case law and participation in moot court can raise even the most economically disadvantaged of students has really been transformative to me. In fact, if I seem a little low energy today, it's because I just arrived back off of a plane this morning at about 2 a.m. from the YMCA Youth in Government's National Judicial Conference, which was in Minneapolis. 2 of my students made it to the final round and won that competition, and they argued in the Minnesota Supreme Court yesterday. It was a religious freedom. It was a case about the tension between the free exercise clause and the establishment clause. And these kids argued their case so cogently that they could have been in any appellate court in the country. And this is happening in classrooms all over the country. Barbara said earlier that she wished that there were teachers like this everywhere. There are teachers like this everywhere. And it's because we have the drive and we have the mission spirit of teaching, and teaching really is servant leadership. I am there to serve the needs of my kids and to provide them opportunities. And I really appreciate the American Lawyers Alliance recognizing those efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Again, terribly impressive, our 3 Teachers of the Year. 2 years ago, I got an email from a woman named Deborah Jarvis, and she said that she was going through her mother's thing. Her mother had recently passed, and she found that she'd been active in the American Lawyers Auxiliary, which it was at that time. It's now the Alliance. And she wondered if she could become a member or take over her mother's membership in her name. And we sent several emails back and forth, and she really learned more about the American Lawyers Alliance and what we do. And she wanted to be more involved and honor her mom. So we've added another Teacher of the Year award, thanks to Deborah. And I'd like Deborah to explain maybe why she wanted to do this and your goal in this. And then she's going to introduce this year's winner of the Lillian B. Jarvis Teacher of the Year award, which is Rebecca Streetman. So Deborah.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Barbara. So I don't think there was a time when I was growing up when my mom was not part of the American Legal Alliance, or whatever it was called at that point. And my mom, they came from a family of immigrants and was always very interested in supporting education, in also civil rights, particularly education for women and equal rights for women. And I grew up in a family. My father was a union lawyer, and the whole idea that education was extremely important. And as Barbara said, I was looking through all her things, and I thought, okay, for myself too, I'm very concerned with education of young people, middle school, high school. And therefore I thought, let me do something. So I was really happy to have this easy way of promoting a 4th Teacher of the Year. So I really need to thank the ALA because you helped me set this up. This year, this is the 2nd year I did it, and the candidates have been great. This year there were really good candidates, and so it was very difficult to make the decision for Rebecca Rolander Streetman. And one of the reasons I picked her out above the other excellent candidates was that she was very much into networking, mentoring, and getting students not only in law education in school, but also interacting with the community. And she set up what was called the SMILE, Summer Mentoring in Legal Education. And it's a program which provides opportunity for students to spend sessions in courtroom, learning about criminal law, the justice system, trial practice, and constitutional law. They also get to spend time in detention centers to see some of the issues that are going on there. What was really interesting is that, I mean, I'll just tell you more about herself, but she's also built different partnerships with different types of professionals, not just law professionals, but allowing students to get in touch with judges, paralegal, police officers, military personnel, and the list goes on and on and on. And let's see, I think, and also what was extremely interesting is not just students, but she's also acts as kind of a focal point for her high school and for other teachers on helping them expanding the whole idea of law and civics and education. So I think it would be better if Rebecca tells us more about herself, but I'm extremely pleased with the choice, and the whole program I think is wonderful. So thank you. And is Rebecca there? I didn't see her
She's
in
here.
the list.
She's on.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
she's on.
Okay, so if Rebecca could tell us a little bit about herself and what she's been doing. I'm impressed, but now every else one can also know.
Thank you so much. I was not unmuting there for a minute because I am also in Chicago. And I actually found this little, I don't know, park to sit out and have the meeting. And just as you were introducing me, a fire truck or something went by and had this loud siren on. So I apologize. So yes, this is my 25th year teaching at South Gwinnett High School. It is a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia. And, you know, my interest in law actually began when I was in high school at the school that I now have taught at for 25 years. My law teacher she actually went on to be National Teacher of the Year for high school, and she happens to teach law. And she was forced into early retirement. And when she retired, I was in my first year teaching. So I made her a plaque that said, it's from Tim McGraw's Please Remember Me. And it said, when all our tears have reached the sea, part of you will live on in me. And I made her that promise that I would continue that passion for law and history that she had. And so I'm so honored to be here today to accept this as kind of her little mentee. And yes, I now mentor other teachers. As a matter of fact, there is a teacher that I hope will be in the running for this award in the future that I'm mentoring right now. And she's only in her second or third year teaching, and she is just taken off with doing some amazing things. And then I just found out a couple days ago that they are adding a new program at another school in our district that I'll be mentoring that teacher. So, you know, someone asked me recently, they said, I'm going to be teaching seniors for the first time. What advice do you have? What should I know? And I said, make a difference in their future. You're not there just to have them memorize facts and pass tests. You are there to make a difference in their future. And I really feel like that's what I do. And specifically, I am at a Title I school, and the teachers that I mentor are also at Title I schools. And, you know, people often ask me, why didn't you become a lawyer? Well, I grew up in an extremely poor family and uneducated. My dad dropped out of school in 7th grade to help support his family, and my mom barely graduated from high school. I was the first person in my family to go to college. So being a lawyer was just never even on my radar. It was just never anything that was attainable to my culture, if you want to say that. And so I went into teaching and was able to teach business law and some other CTE courses. And then the state of Georgia established the law and public safety curriculum that I heard some other people talk about. And I was privileged to get to head that up. And I'm just so supported by the people in my community, the lawyers, the judges, all the people that she named. I mean, I've had FBI agents, I've had CSI agents, NCIS agents that, I mean, I send an email and say, hey, will someone come talk to my class? And within 30 minutes, I've got someone saying, I'll be there. So my community just really supports it, and my principal supports it and lets me teach all this stuff. There's not a lot of, because I actually teach like criminal justice and applications of law, essentials of legal services. So I'm not just teaching history of law, I'm actually teaching cases, and we talk about real cases. But to see, y'all, some of my students, if I weren't in Chicago right now, I wish I could have this Zoom meeting in my classroom to show you my students, because that's what this is about. And that's what I'm here for, is these students that I've got a student right now who is taking dual enrollment, and she will have her associate's degree in criminal justice when she graduates from high school. And she is the first generation, not only to go to college, but she's first generation American, that her parents were immigrants. And it's just amazing to see these students latch onto it and take an interest in it and obtain something that they never thought would be possible. I had one who just graduated, who had been with me all 4 years. She was fantastic, had a genuine interest in law, and did all of the programs and things that I offered. Here comes, I mean, there's ambulances every few seconds. I'm sorry, guys. But she ended up getting cancer her senior year. And despite having cancer, when she wasn't in the hospital getting radiation treatment, she would come to my class with a port in her. I'm so sorry for the background noise. But she would come to class with a port in her because her future mattered that much to her. And she is now on a full ride scholarship, majoring in criminal justice at Alabama, and intends to go on to law school. But to make it attainable and to network, as you said, to introduce these students to people that can help them obtain that future that I never thought was possible for me. And I didn't obtain it for that reason. I would have loved to have been a lawyer. But to see all of them go on and build that future, it is what I'm here for. And it's just amazing. And when my students were giddy, they were almost in tears when I told them that I wouldn't be there today for this award. But the SMILE program, as you mentioned, if you Google, if you want to know more about it, because some of your states may want to offer it, it was started by a judge in Gwinnett County in Georgia, and it's the Gwinnett Summer Mentoring in Legal Education. And we abbreviate it as the SMILE program, but if you Google SMILE, you're going to get more than honest. But it's the Summer Mentoring in Legal Education in Gwinnett. And we've been doing it for about 7 years now. And the students go and they actually sit in on actual court proceedings. And then afterwards, they get to ask the judges and the lawyers questions about what they saw. They tour the medical examiner's office. They get to hear from even politicians. This year, I think they had a Georgia state senator come talk to them. And again, these people don't just come talk to the students, they engage with the students, they give their email addresses, some of them give their cell phone numbers, and they establish relationships with the students. And then the students who are genuine about this go on and follow through with it. I also have students who have made connections with the largest law firm in Atlanta. It's the Morris, Manning and Martin law firm. And they do paid internships for high school students. So there's just so many opportunities out there. And I truly feel like, as he said earlier, that my calling is to introduce these students to these things that they don't have a lot of accessibility to in their own lives. Again, growing up, I always thought that lawyers grew up in a family of lawyers and they just had a silver spoon in their mouth. And now these students are seeing that no matter what background they come from, they too can have that future if they choose to. So thank you so much for this. And this has just been a complete honor to be part of this. And as they said earlier, I appreciate the American Lawyers Alliance for promoting this and encouraging just promoting the growth and encouraging the growth and other teachers to continue to do this. The recognition is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Rebecca. American Lawyers Alliance is so proud of the teachers that we have honored. We're proud of all teachers, but we're so proud of the 4 that we have honored. Not only do they come from across the country, but they also, thanks to Deborah, whose focus was on, let's look at Title I schools, because maybe they can't do some of the things that the other more affluent schools could be doing. And she succeeded in that. And your passion to your students, in fact, all of you, your passion to your students is so evident and heartwarming. And we just appreciate you so much. And thank you for taking time to be on our Zoom today. this is being recorded, so we'll make sure you all get a copy of it afterwards. So Noelle, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okie dokie. This will be posted on the website. So if you want to show it to your students or just refer back to it for pure enjoyment, that's fine. Congratulations to our teachers. Yay. It's been so exciting. It's been quite a year. We talked about those who teach the law. Now let's talk about those who make the law. We have to give you a bit of history about the Judicial Civic Education Award. Over the years, most of our teachers of the year, or as we fondly refer to them as our toys, their applications had always mentioned a dedicated judge who worked with the students in law-related activities or volunteered to be a judge in a mock trial contest. We felt those outstanding judges who helped educate students needed to be recognized as well. And so we created the ALA Judicial Civic Education Award. The purpose of our Judicial Award is to recognize and honor judges for their work in promoting civic education within their community and state. To tell you about this year's winner is Jennifer Benesch.
Thanks, Noelle. Justice Brett Busby was appointed to the Supreme Court of Texas by Governor Greg Abbott in February 2019, confirmed unanimously by the Texas Senate, and then elected to a full term in November 2020. An experienced appellate litigator, Justice Busby was a partner at the Bracewell Law Firm in Houston and served on the 14th Court of Appeals for 6 years before joining the Supreme Court. He is a 7th-generation Texan, 3rd-generation Eagle Scout, and lifelong violinist who grew up in Amarillo and Austin area. After graduating with high honors from Duke University and Columbia Law School, he served as a law clerk to Justices Byron White and John Paul Stevens on the U.S. Supreme Court. He is board certified in civil appellate law and is a former adjunct professor at the University of Texas Law School, where he helped teach the U.S. Supreme Court Litigation Clinic. In 2018, the Texas Association's Civil Trial and Appellate Specialist recognized Justice Busby's judicial service by naming him Appellate Judge of the Year. He has also received the Judge of the Year award from the Hispanic Bar Association of Houston and received the Outstanding Mentor Award from the Houston Young Lawyers Association. Attorneys consistently rate Justice Busby highly in judicial evaluation polls. Justice Busby is an advocate for law-related education. He helped to create, apply, and teach a lesson plan for all 7th grade Texas students to introduce them to the Texas court system, known as Taming Texas Judicial Civics and Court History Project. This program recruits judges and attorneys to teach lessons to 7th graders, reaching over 22,000 students in the Houston area alone. And this has a goal to reach 424,000 students statewide. Taming Texas features a 2-part curriculum based on information about the state's courts and stories from the acclaimed Taming Texas book series. The books include Taming Texas, How Law and Order Came to the Lone Star State, Taming Texas, Law and the Texas Frontier, Taming Texas, the Chief Justices of the Supreme Court, and there is currently a 4th book in the works about women in the law. Justice Busby is truly dedicated to improving the justice system and the legal profession. He is also very active in his community. He is a senior fellow of the American Leadership Forum and has served on the boards of the Post Oak School and the Houston Symphony. Justice Busby and his wife, Erin, who met while clerking at the U.S. Supreme Court together, have 2 children. They could not be with us today because he is on a family vacation, but he graciously allowed Noelle and I to come to the Supreme Court building and make this video.
All right, let's see if we can do this, Barbara. Pardon
Okay.
our technical difficulties, but we're going to see if we can sync this a little better than the other one. All right.
Are you going to turn closed captions on or no?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let me get this on and then we'll hit go at the same time. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready. Go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brett Busby, and I want to thank the American Lawyers Alliance for this wonderful Judicial Civics Education Award. I'm so honored to receive it. I'm a justice on the Supreme Court in Texas. And before I joined the court, I was a judge on the Court of Appeals in Houston. And I worked with Texas Supreme Court Historical Society and with the Houston Bar Association to start our Taming Texas program. The Supreme Court Historical Society developed this book and a couple of others in this series that talk about the history of Texas courts, how law and order came to the Lone Star State, and we have used it to develop a curriculum to bring into our 7th grade classrooms across the state to teach judicial civics as part of our Texas history to our 7th graders. And I'm very grateful to the Historical Society and to the Houston Bar Association for helping us bring this program into the schools. We worked with teachers around the state to write a curriculum that would be accessible to 7th graders, to teach them about the courts and about our history. And it's a 2-day program. We go into 2 different weeks for an hour to teach it. The first segment is on Texas history and really the rich contributions to Texas law, not only from the English common law system, but also from the Spanish and Mexican civil law system. And we talk about some of the first in Texas, the first all-woman Supreme Court in the country to sit and hear a case, some of our first Hispanic and Black judges around the state, really to give the message to students that the legal profession is one where everyone has an opportunity to succeed, and also to demystify it for people, because a lot of these students, their only experience with the legal system may have been a negative one. And so we want them to understand the positive power of the legal system to help society. And in the second session, we go into what the various courts do and also emphasize the importance of people understanding and participating in the system to select our judges. And so we've been, the first year we did the program, we recruited over 120 lawyer and judge teams in Houston to go out and teach that curriculum in schools. The Dallas Bar Association has joined in, and we're in talks with some of the other bar associations around the state to bring it to students in their area. We've reached over 22,000 students so far, and I'm really excited about the potential that this curriculum has to help transform the understanding of the legal system and bring that to our young people coming up. So thank you so much for this award. It's a real honor for me this is something I love doing, and it's been a great team effort with the Historical Society and our local bar associations. And so a lot of credit goes to them for this. And I also want to congratulate the Teachers of the Year who are being honored today and your scholarship recipient as well. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you in person for the award ceremony today, but it's very much appreciated and a real tribute to all the volunteers who have helped make this program a success. Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you, Justice Busby. I hope you're having a lovely time in Italy. A little jealous. Finally, let's talk about those who learn the law. I have the distinct pleasure of telling you about our newest ALA adventure, the Catherine G. Jergemeyer $10,000 Memorial Scholarship. The late Catherine G. Jergemeyer was a formidable member of the American Lawyers Alliance, having created and implemented the Law in a Free Society project, as well as having been an active member of the Teacher of the Year Award Committee. In honor of her memory, her daughter, Nancy J. Haar, has generously funded this annual $10,000 scholarship for a deserving high school senior whose body of work, both inside and outside the classroom, has demonstrated a special dedication to law-related education with academic excellence. I would like to introduce our new honorary ALA member, Nancy Haar, to tell you a bit about her mother, Catherine G. Jergemeyer. Nancy, are you there? Barbara, you may need to unmute her.
I can't find her.
She's under Marcel. Second page.
I'm on the second page. Oh, got it. Well, it's not working to unmute her.
Oh dear.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Now I'm taking, okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. because I think that I'm going to avoid some feedback if I turn off my speakers from my PC.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so initially, I want to say thank you for inviting me to speak this morning. I'd like to tell you that I'm a believer in notions such as circumstance, right place, right time, things happen for a reason, that kind of thing. When my mother passed away, I changed her mailing address to mine. As the years went by, I continued to receive mail addressed to Mother from Jean Skilton, annual letters, that type of thing. It would have been so easy to write back notifying her of Mother's passing, but I didn't. And those handwritten envelopes kept coming. Last year, I finally wrote to her. This time, I had something else in mind. I asked if it would be possible to create some sort of a memorial to honor Mother's contributions to ALA. My inquiry was directed to then President Rita Thompson, who was receptive to my request. We exchanged a few phone calls before your annual meeting in August, where Noelle Roberts became president. Noelle and her committee put this scholarship together with structure and purpose before a single notice was posted requesting applicants. This inaugural was hugely successful, attracting quite a roster of qualified students. Little did I know this would coincide with the celebration of ALA's 60th anniversary. See what I mean about timing? Now I'd like to tell you a little bit about my mother. My parents moved to Columbus, Indiana in 1952 and called that their home for 50 years. During that time, my father was active in the community, serving on the board of the County Hospital Foundation and Mental Health Association, while being senior vice president of the local bank trust department and later practicing trust and estate law in his own firm for 29 years. I mentioned my father, D.W. Jergemeyer, attorney and past president of Indiana State Bar Association, by way of introducing my mother, Catherine Jergemeyer, and her role in the Indiana Lawyers Auxiliary and American Lawyers Auxiliary. My mother was an educator, graduating from the University of Northern Iowa. She taught at the high school level and was Dean of Women of a community college in Iowa. In preparing for today's presentation, I'm reminded of some of her later accomplishments, how she worked toward the betterment of community and promoting outstanding citizenship. Looking back from 1993, my mother was past director of the Foundation of Youth, past president of Bartholomew County, Indiana Consolidated School Foundation, and had chaired Indiana Lawyers Auxiliary and American Bar Auxiliary. She also chaired Indiana Bar's law-related education program and was responsible for the adoption of the program into the Bartholomew County school curriculum. If I recall, that included getting a copy of the U.S. Constitution in the hands of all 11th graders. As part of that approval and implementation, she obtained school board approval to send 4 teachers to California to be trained in law in a free society. At that time, and I think this was square in the 1980s, that would have been like the Carter and Reagan eras. This was a new curriculum teaching young people the importance of accepting responsibilities of citizenship, as well as enjoying the protection and liberties it affords them. These 4 teachers came back armed with methodology, classroom materials, and tools to train other teachers. Expenses for this specialized training were paid for by the legal fraternity and Indiana Bar Association Criminal Justice Section. This resulted in Bartholomew School Board approval of the system in grades 1 through 12 in all schools. She served on the Indiana Governor's Task Force for Citizen Education for 7 years. I just really wonder what was going on in the mid 80s that prompted California to be, well, of course, they're the forefront of everything that's a little bit radical, but still. Anyway, I'm especially pleased that the American Lawyers Auxiliary has allowed me to honor my mother's memory by the establishment of this scholarship.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, I wish we could have met her. I bet she was just wonderful. But I guess we get to carry on her tradition and her legacy. But I want to tell you a little bit about this. This is kind of my pet baby, and I've had a lot of fun putting this together. From a nugget of an idea last fall, we built the infrastructure of the Jergemeyer Scholarship from scratch. We hadn't done a scholarship. We'd only done the Teachers of the Year. We were so excited. Barbara, can you mute? Okay, sorry about that, guys. We were so excited about this project to reward a brilliant student for their law-related activities, which was a very much underserved population. In early spring 2022, we researched, emailed, distributed, contacted hundreds of teachers, counselors, principals, bar associations, reached out through social media groups and civic education groups, and urged them to get the word out about our scholarship. We waited very patiently. The application deadline was May 31st. Finally, we received our first application in the middle of April. What a relief. At least we had a possible winner. We were so excited. Then radio silence. Finally, around May 29th, 2 days before the deadline, the floodgates opened. The applications started rolling in from Hawaii to Florida, from Minnesota to Georgia. We received over 30 applications from the most brilliant, overachieving students. But there was one who stood out above the crowd, whose credentials and academic honors were superb, whose law-related activities embodied all that we were looking for in a candidate, and whose essay on the importance of law-related education in today's society brought tears to our eyes. Let me give you a little snapshot about today's winners, of our winners' exceptional qualifications, achievements, and activities. GPA, 4.64. SAT score, 1501. ACT score, 34. She will attend Cornell University in the fall. She is the New Jersey champion team on the New Jersey championship team for We the People contest. She was president of her high school mock trial team, which were county champions. She won the award of merit and outstanding delegate at the National High School Model UN in 2022. She won Best Marketing Director in 3rd place in the National Urban Plan Competition. She was a semifinalist in the Euro Challenge. She's co-founder and co-president of the East Brunswick Red Cross Council. She won the Bronze Presidential Award for her work in the East Brunswick Youth Council. She's a member of the National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, and Science Honor Society. She was even selected for the robotics competition team. Her hobbies include dance, photography, violin, listening to TED Talks, and of course, oral arguments from the Supreme Court. May I present our Catherine G. Jergemeyer Scholarship winner, Kamala Karupia of East Brunswick, New Jersey. Kamala, would you like to say a few words?
Well, first, thank you, Ms. Roberts, for that introduction. And I would like to thank you, American Lawyer Alliance, Ms. Nancy, and the panel for the Catherine G. Jergemeyer Memorial Scholarship. It is truly an honor to be receiving this award and scholarship, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. I will keep this short. And so first, my congrats to the Honorable Brett Buttsby and the wonderful Teachers of the Year. And on that note, I would like to thank my family and my teachers, both who are on the call today. So thank you, Mr. Alan Broadman and Mr. Mark Mondry. They are my pillars of support for particularly law-related and civic related education and activities. They have nurtured my academic and personal growth, and high school would have been completely different without them. I actually wanted to be a gynecologist, and then I took Mr. Mondry's IPPL class, which changed quite a few things. So Mr. Mondry's IPPL class stands for Institute for Political and Legal Education, and it mostly aligns with the We the People curriculum. And through this class, I was able to begin to develop my passion for civics and explore the law. And then through other activities such as mock trial, Model United Nations, the Euro program, like you mentioned, and of course, We the People, I was able to understand the importance of being an active citizen, staying informed, voting, and most of all, and I believe the most important of all, encouraging others around me to do so as well. So my graduating class is about 730 students, but the senior class, only 28 people took our civics class, which clearly shows the work we still have to do to encourage all of our students to be taking civic education and law-related education. And I hope to definitely be a part of that in encouraging my fellow students and other people to really take an interest in civics, even if they want to become a gynecologist. So through community service, local community service in my community, in schools, and like Mr. Roberts mentioned, the Red Cross, we were able to just go to different schools and meet people and see other people in our community. And that is what really emphasized the importance of being an active citizen for me. And then when you meet other people in your community and you realize that not everybody is living the same exact life you are, that's what made me interested in learning more about our local laws and our local legislation. And to quickly wrap it up, I would just like to say a short story. So I come from a long line of doctors and software engineers. So my passion for civics and law-related education is extremely new to my family. So just yesterday, when I was at a family get-together, one of my relatives pulled me aside and said, "Did you know I always wanted to be a lawyer?" I said, "No, you're a software engineer. I didn't know that." So she said, "I always wanted to be a lawyer. So don't listen to the confusion and the doubts that other people are asking you, particularly in family. So you follow your heart and go be our family's first attorney." So with that, in the fall, or actually next week, I will be moving to Cornell University to study industrial labor relations. And for anyone that doesn't know, this is a program that covers law, labor history, economics, and leadership. And I plan to go to law school after undergrad and hopefully become an attorney, like many of you, join the American Lawyer Alliance as an attorney, but most of all, promote civic education and encourage others and share my passion for civics and the law. So for me, beyond this award, this is validation and encouragement for my passion. And thank you once again for this honor and award. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kamala. Yay. I know we made the absolute right decision. Thank you so much. All right, our final speaker this morning is Robert Lemming, the former director of We the People program for the Center for Civic Education. Since Kitty has worked with Bob for many years, I will let Kitty make the introduction.
Thank you, Noelle. This is an introduction to Robert Lemming and a tribute to him as well. He's the director of the We the People, the Citizen in the Constitution program, and he's retired from the Center for Civic Education in April. He served the center for 24 years, having joined the organization from his previous position as Indiana State Coordinator. As the president of the center, Christopher Riano noted, it said, "Bob demonstrated leadership and resilience, greatly expanding the program's reach and successfully guiding the We the People through the challenge of a pandemic. His work has touched thousands of students over the years, and our democracy is stronger thanks to his dedication." The American Lawyers Alliance has been involved with the Center for Civic Education for many years. Bob has written letters commending our Teachers of the Year on the work they do, and these letters were read at the awards ceremonies. We so appreciated his taking the time to offer heartwarming comments to our teachers. Of course, he could do this because he actually knew several of the teachers from the We the People competition. When the We the People finals were held on Capitol Hill, I was invited to attend and had the privilege of witnessing the remarkable teachers and students who compete in this contest. The hearings were held in the actual committee hearing rooms in the Rayburn House Office building. Walking the halls of Congress is always a catch your breath experience. I was also invited to attend the closing banquet. I can't tell you how exciting it was to be in a hotel ballroom in Washington, D.C. with hundreds of high school students from all across the country as the winning teams in each category were announced. It was absolutely electric. The students not only cheered if their team won, but they also cheered for all the other teams as well. This was a great experience as the students met and interacted with students from all over. I'm sure many friendships were a result of this interaction. By the way, I believe there was a dance following the banquet. Some of the teams even had paraphernalia representing their state. The Hawaiian teams wore layas. Other teams wore hats. Think Texas cowboy hats. There was quite a variety and it was great fun. Bob organized the whole event from arranging buses to take the students to Capitol Hill to arranging hotel rooms, meals, and sightseeing around the city. And he did this year after year after year. Incredible fortitude. For the past several years, the contest has been held virtually. This year, 1,000 students participated in 600 half-hour hearings, all held via Zoom. Over the years, the ALA's Teacher of the Year were among those teachers whose students participated in the contest, and several of their classes were the We the People winners. The winner of the first Catherine Juggermeyer Scholarship, whom you just heard, was actually on a We the People team this past year. Kamala Karupia from East Brunswick High School won in the Unit Award category. Bob has co-authored several books, including Resources for Teachers on Bill of Rights, How to Teach Bill of Rights, and Teaching Constitutional Issues with Scripted Trials. Bob is greatly admired and respected by all those who have worked with him. Bob, you can count ALA among your many fans. We are very grateful for all the assistance you provided ALA, especially in our Teacher of the Year program. You will be sorely missed, and we wish you well in whatever future programs you will be involved in. I understand there are some grandfather duties awaiting you as well. The American Lawyers Alliance is proud to honor Robert Lemming with honorary membership in the American Lawyers Alliance. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Kitty, for that gracious introduction. It's a thrill to be here today because I'm looking at Kathy Bomberger, who I've worked with, and by the way, Catherine Jurgemeyer as well, since 1988, when I first was introduced to the, and dare I say it, it was called, the American Law Wives, which was then changed to Auxiliary, now changed to Alliance. I guess that's the way things go. But I can tell you from the very beginning, which I didn't really know because I'm not a lawyer. I found out about the ALA through judges and attorneys that I was involving in the We the People program in Indiana, and soon found how valuable they were, and especially during state competitions and serving as facilitators and timers and doing basically anything that had to be done. So I've had a long history with the ALA, and I really, it started to really impress me more when you started your Teacher of the Year awards, which I'm happy to say that over the years, there's been many, many We the People teachers. I call We the People teachers because I know them and they teach the We the People program. Some of them have competed at the national finals and others haven't, but that's, the whole thing is they're teaching government and civics, and that's important. I see Alan Broadman here. That's a pleasure. Alan and I go way back, and I'm so happy that your student Kamala has this great opportunity here, and she's fighting a family tradition in a sense, which is a story all in itself. So that's great. And I see Katie on here, and one of your recipients, and her students put together a really nice thank you to me after a video that was, I think, like 20 minutes, a half hour of students saying nice things about me. That was really nice, Katie. And she has done, you know, I've seen her for many, many years at the national finals and represented her state well. I'm excited about the other award winners, Jonathan Ray, who I have a passion for criminal justice as well. Some of you may know that from 1978 to 1998, I taught in jails and prisons in Indiana and Michigan and the Virgin Islands as a part-time when I was in graduate school, and then found out it to be a very rewarding experience dealing with the criminal justice from the inside and working with judges and attorneys to better serve these inmates, because one of the things that you find out right away is lots of people get out of jail every day and prisons. What are you going to do with them? You know, how are they going to survive in our society? Are they going to go back? That's a big issue in terms of criminal justice. And today it's a big hot topic of how are we doing with criminal justice reform, or too much reform, or whatever your thoughts are. That's a big issue out there today. So I commend Jonathan for his work in that. I was thrilled to hear about this award for the judge, Busby, because in my career, I've worked with many, many lawyers and many judges and justices from state Supreme Courts, and it's nice to see their work in civic education recognized. They go beyond the call of duty and have a passion for this. They have a full-time job as a justice or a judge, but they still want to spend time with the civic education of young people because they understand the importance of that. I was thrilled to get the email from Noel about an honorary member into your organization. I think that's fantastic. And I appreciated really the fact that, you know, you knew I was retiring in April, but you still came to me to talk about things and these teachers. I would encourage you to reach out to Donna Phillips, who's replaced me at the Center for Civic Education and with other jobs. But your continued connection with the Center for Civic Education, I think, is vital to what you do and what they do. And I would hope that Noel and others can build a relationship like you had with me and Mark Molly for many, many years with the new bosses at the center, and including Christopher Riano. I appreciate that comment that he made. He's been at the center now for 2 years and has a vision for where it's going to go. And I think it's a good one. And I really, Donna, I've known her for many, many years. Donna Phillips, she's the new person that has my responsibilities. You'll love working with her. I think she's very exciting. And I think the center has a good future with that. I do want to give a special thank you to Deborah Jarvis. That you saw what she did for your organization in terms of creating an award for teachers, which is fantastic. But she also, after, I think it was a couple of years ago now, she contacted me after this conversation I had with you, with the teachers of that year, and wanted to do something in the field of civic education. Well, from that conversation, she connected up with the present leadership at the center, including Christopher Riano, and created a position at the center. I mean, this is big time. This is big time commitment to the center. And they were able to hire a person that had been sorely needed, in my opinion, a development person. So I want to thank Deborah for that personally, and that investment in civic education, specifically the Center for Civic Education. I just think that's remarkable. And I hope that that's going to help the center in the long run do the great work that it did when I was there and then into the future. I can't tell you, you know, I'm not sure Amy's there still, but I've known Amy for many, many years, as well as Katie. And these are remarkable teachers, and you picked great ones. And it's so obvious to me because of their accomplishments. And it's really, and all of the teachers have said this, it's their love for their students that then their students go on and do great things, whatever it is. You know, they could be an IndyCar driver. They could be a construction worker. They could be somebody who, works at a hotel. They could be a student at Cornell University. They're going to be good citizens and participate with knowledge. I mean, I sometimes controversial say, was the amendment to change the voting to 18 a mistake? Because when you look at voting statistics, that's the worst voting bloc they are. But what also is true is as they get older, they vote. They start to vote and continue to vote. If you're going to have young people participate in this democratic republic, the need for civic education, in my mind, is give these students some capabilities to then vote responsibly when you allow them to vote at 18, 19, 20 years old. Democracy is a wonderful thing, but it's also could be dangerous. And it's dangerous when the people who are voting for, without, in my opinion, logic, or I'm not care what party they vote for, as long as they participate in an effective manner and understand what they're participating in. That's the brilliance of democracy, but it only can be that if you have a citizenry that's well educated in civic education. I've been along this business long enough now to say this hasn't changed. It was certainly the truth before I was involved in law-related education in the 80s and 90s and 2000s and beyond. It certainly was true in the 1950s. It was true in the 1940s and beyond, and it's true in the 1860s. It's our generation's responsibility to make sure that we invest in teachers who then invest in students in our generation. It's in 25 years from now, 50 years from now, this same argument is going to be going on. How do we impact students to be good citizens in a country that gives the power to the people to decide? If we're going to do that, then the necessity for good civic education is never going to go away. It's just going to mean that the next generation and the next generation is going to have to invest in it. I'm proud and privileged to have known many of the people on this screen and worked with them personally over the last 35 years in education. Same struggles we had when I was young exist today. And maybe in some ways, there are other harder problems. The work that the ALA has done now in investing in all kinds of areas here is remarkable to me. And I'm happy that now I am an honorary member. That's fantastic. And I can't thank you enough for that. I certainly could go on and talk about these teachers. You know how great they are. I just want to commend them one more time, and the work that teachers around the country like Alan Brodman have done along the way as well. It's been a pleasure for me to work with these such great teachers out there for so many years. And I continue to, I'm not retired. I'm just gone from the Center for Civic Education. If I may, one more quick story. I have now for a number of years, but I just finished this summer. I work with Purdue University on a program called the Ben Franklin Transatlantic Institute. It's a month-long program for 10 American students and 45 European students from every European country you can think of. Come to the United States, mainly at Purdue University, for a month, and then they travel different parts of the country. But I get them for 3 days. And to work civic education, they hire me to deal with civic education. And in fact, I hold congressional hearings with them on the 3rd day, which is fantastic. If there's something that you want to look into beyond what you're doing now, which is fantastic, you might, and you can be in touch with me about this. This might be something to help support the Ben Franklin Transatlantic Institute at Purdue University. I'm involved in it. I can tell you, one of the best teaching situations I've ever had with engaged students who want to make a difference, and from all over Europe and the United States. It's a fantastic program, and I'm glad that they're continuing to involve me in it. And I understand they've got a grant for another 2 years. So again, that's at Purdue University. And if you want more information about it, Kitty, you can touch with me, or Noel, you can email me about it. I just encourage that. I hope I haven't missed anything. There's so much you guys did today, which is fantastic. I think I hit it all. So thank you again for your long-term involvement in law-related education. It's important. And again, personal thanks for being and knowing so many of you over all of these years. And I'm happy to continue to be involved at this stage of my life. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bob. We're welcome to ALA. We are very excited. We don't have many men on in our group, so.
Well, I don't get any voting rights either, so.
Not yet, not yet. Everybody, go ahead, Bob.
I was just saying, however I can serve you, just let me know.
We'll take you up on that, no doubt about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody, on behalf of the American Lawyers Alliance, thank you all for joining us for this wonderful event. I am so humbled by such excellence in law-related education that is here with us today. To our amazing teachers, go mold beautiful minds. To our outstanding jurist, may he continue to inspire students and colleagues on the importance of law-related education. To our superstar Kamala, go hit it out of the park at Cornell. We know you'll be absolutely brilliant. Thank you all for joining us. Tell everybody about ALA, our wonderful awards, our scholarships, and who knows what's up our sleeves. We've got all sorts of things going on. Thank you again for joining us. For the members of ALA, we will have our annual meeting this afternoon at 2 o'clock. So feel free to come on back and Zoom in with us again. And everybody take care, stay cool in this weather. Silly wishful thinking on my part. Anyway, again, thank you. And we'll do this again next year. How about that? All righty, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.